There was a moment in your life that you have already forgotten. Not because it was unimportant, because it looked completely ordinary. It looked like just another moment in just another day. It looked like the kind of small, unremarkable thing that happens dozens of times in a human life and leaves no particular impression because nothing about it signaled that it was different from any other moment of ordinary human kindness. You did not feel the ground shift beneath your feet. You did not hear a sound from heaven. You did not experience a vision or a sign or any of the dramatic confirmations that we tend to associate with moments of genuine spiritual significance. You just did what you did. And then you moved on with your day. But heaven did not move on. Heaven stopped. Because what you did in that moment, the specific act of kindness or care or simple human decency that you extended towards someone who appeared to be nothing more than an ordinary person in need of an ordinary kind of help, was received by someone who was not ordinary at all. Someone whose true nature was hidden from your physical eyes but was fully visible to the realm that sent them. Someone who was dispatched from heaven into human experience specifically to find out what certain souls are made of when no one important is watching. You were one of those souls, and what heaven found out about you in that moment is the reason this message exists today. The reason you were guided here. The reason that out of everything available to your attention in this moment, something drew you to these specific words at this specific time. Because heaven has something to say to you about what it saw, about what it recorded, about what it decided in response to the quality of heart you demonstrated when you had every reason to walk past the need and no reason at all, from a human perspective, to stop. But you stopped, and the one you helped was an angel, and in ways you are about to fully understand, you saved them. I want to explain what it means to save an angel, because it sounds impossible. Angels are powerful beyond human comprehension. They exist in a dimension of reality that makes human strength look like candlelight next to the sun. They do not need to be rescued from physical danger by human beings. They do not require human protection from the ordinary threats that human beings spend their lives navigating. So when heaven says, "You saved an angel," it is not speaking in the language of physical rescue. It is speaking in the language of mission. When heaven sends a messenger into human experience, when an angel takes on the appearance of an ordinary human being and enters the world of human need and human interaction, the mission they are carrying is specific. It is a test, not a test of you in the adversarial sense. A test in the scientific sense, an observation designed to reveal data that cannot be gathered any other way, the data of what a particular human soul actually does when the moment arrives. When the need is present and the cost of responding is real, and there is no audience and no reward and no obvious reason to give other than the simple fact that giving is the right thing to do. The angel was sent to find out what you would do. And when you responded the way you responded, when you stopped and helped and gave and showed up without knowing who you were actually showing up for, you did something that completed the angel's mission. You gave the angel the answer they were sent to find. You provided the evidence that heaven needed. You fulfilled the purpose of the encounter in the most complete possible way. You completed the mission. In the language of heaven, completing the mission of an angel is saving them, because an angel whose mission is incomplete carries a weight that is resolved only when the purpose of the sending is fulfilled, and the purpose of this sending was fulfilled by you, by your choice, by your heart, by the uncalculated, unself-conscious, genuinely beautiful act of a human being exactly what human beings were designed to be. And heaven took notice. Heaven wants to describe to you what was observed in that moment from the spiritual dimension. What it looked like when your act of kindness was registered in the realm that sees everything. Because the seen and unseen dimensions of reality are not separate in the way that human perception sometimes suggests. They are layered, simultaneous, interpenetrating. What happens in the visible world has immediate and real effects in the invisible world, and vice versa. And when something genuinely significant happens in the visible world, the invisible world responds. When you helped the angel, a light moved. That is the only way to describe it in human language that comes close to what actually occurred. In the spiritual dimension, acts of genuine, uncalculated love and generosity produce something that is visible to spiritual sight, a movement of light, a brightening of the atmosphere around the person who acted, a ripple that moves outward from the act and touches the spiritual landscape in ways that have real and lasting effects on the life of the person who generated it. The light that moved when you helped the angel was not small, because the act was not performed from surplus. It was performed from the place where giving costs something. The place where the person who gives has something to lose by giving and gives anyway. That kind of giving, the kind that requires something real to be offered and offers it anyway without resentment and without calculation, that kind of giving produces the most significant movement in the spiritual realm. It carries the most weight. It opens the most doors. It generates the most lasting shift in the atmosphere of a life. The spiritual atmosphere around your life shifted in that moment. And what replaced what was there before is something that heaven specifically releases over the lives of people who demonstrate this quality of heart. A covering of favor that operates differently from ordinary divine blessing. Not just blessing that comes in response to prayer or obedience or faithfulness in the ordinary sense, but the specific, activated, heaven-initiated favor that is released when heaven observes something in a human life that it considers worthy of the most direct and immediate response. You earned that favor, not in the sense of earning something you did not deserve, in the sense of becoming the kind of person that favor was always designed to flow toward, and it is flowing toward you now, in this season, in ways that are already in motion and that are going to become increasingly visible in the days and weeks and months ahead. Heaven wants to speak to you about the specific quality of your heart that made the act possible, because you did not conjure generosity in that moment from thin air. You drew it from something that had been built in you over a long time, something that is one of the most significant things about you spiritually. Something that the enemy has been aware of and has specifically targeted because he understands its power better than you do. You have a heart that sees people, not just looks at them, actually sees them. The specific, attentive, penetrating kind of seeing that registers a person as a whole human being rather than as a piece of scenery in the background of your own story. The seeing that notices when someone is carrying something heavy, even when they are not talking about it. The seeing that picks up the need beneath the surface presentation. The seeing that looks at the ordinary appearing person and recognizes that ordinary appearances are rarely the whole story. That quality of seeing is rare. It is not common. Most people, not through any moral failing, but simply through the self-protective habits that human experience tends to produce, develop a kind of selective vision. A vision that focuses primarily on what is directly relevant to their own immediate needs and story. A vision that processes the people around them at a relatively surface level because going deeper with everyone would be overwhelming. You never fully developed that selective vision. Your eyes stayed open in ways that other people's eyes gradually closed. Your attention kept reaching toward people rather than retreating from them. Your heart kept being moved by what it saw in faces and situations that most people learn to pass without being affected. That quality was not weakness. It was not naivety. It was not an inability to protect yourself that you need to eventually overcome. It was a gift, placed in you intentionally, for the specific purpose of making you capable of the kind of seeing and the kind of responding that changed the outcome of the angel's mission and caused heaven to take notice. The enemy knew what that gift could do, and he tried to take it from you, through the disappointments, through the times you gave and it was not returned. through the relationships where you saw people clearly and they did not see you back, through the moments of vulnerability that were not received with the care they deserved, through the accumulated experiences that were designed to teach you that seeing people deeply is a liability, that caring genuinely is dangerous, that the open heart is the hurt heart, and the only protection is to eventually stop seeing so much. But you did not close. You bent, but you did not close. The seeing survived. The caring survived. The open heart survived, and it survived in good enough condition to respond in that moment the way it responded. Heaven honored that survival today. Michael wants to speak about the 5 blessings that are being directly released into your life as a result of what heaven witnessed. Not rewards in a mechanical, transactional sense, but the natural, spiritual consequence of a specific kind of act performed by a specific kind of soul at a specific moment that heaven designated as a threshold. 5 areas of your life where the shift is going to be most immediate and most unmistakable. The first blessing is the blessing of being seen. The deep, specific, known to the core seeing that you have extended to others for your entire life, but that you yourself have often gone without. The seeing that does not just notice your presence, but recognizes your depth, that does not just appreciate your usefulness, but values your being. That does not just receive your giving, but witnesses you as a whole, complex, extraordinary human soul, worthy of genuine attention and genuine investment. That seeing is coming to you now. From God, in a deepened and more tangible way than you have previously experienced. And from people, the right people, the ones whose eyes are open enough to see what you actually are. They are being moved into your life, and they are going to see you in ways that heal the long ache of having been mostly unseen. The second blessing is the blessing of unexpected rescue. You have rescued others, in ways both large and small, in ways both seen and unseen. You have been the person who showed up when someone needed showing up for. You have been the hand extended, the words spoken, the presence offered in the moment of need, and you have done most of this without anyone doing the same for you in the same measure. But the God who watched you rescue others has not forgotten your own need. And in this season, in the specific areas of your life where you most need rescue, heaven is sending it, sometimes through people, sometimes through direct, divine intervention, sometimes through circumstances shifting in ways that you did not engineer and could not have predicted. The rescue that is coming for you is the divine response of a God who says you showed up for others, and I am showing up for you. The third blessing is the blessing of open doors. Doors in every dimension of your life that have been closed. In your vocation, your calling, your finances, your creative expression, your relationships, your health. Doors that you have stood in front of and knocked on and waited at, and sometimes walked away from in discouragement because they did not open. Those doors are being unlocked. Not because you finally said the right prayer, or did the right thing, or demonstrated sufficient faith in the right way. Because the heart that gave without seeing, that helped without calculating, that showed up for a need without knowing the full significance of the moment, is the heart that heaven has decided to open everything for. The fourth blessing is the blessing of divine alignment. Things in your life that have felt misaligned, out of place, not quite fitting together in the way they should, are moving into alignment. Relationships that needed to shift are shifting. Circumstances that were blocking are clearing. The sense of being in the wrong place at the wrong time that has characterized certain seasons of your life is being replaced by a growing sense of rightness, of being exactly where you are supposed to be, of the pieces of your life story beginning to fit together in a way that starts to make sense of things that previously seemed random or inexplicable or painfully purposeless. The fifth blessing is the blessing of joy, not happiness that depends on circumstances being favorable. deep, settled, springs from somewhere, that circumstances cannot reach joy. The joy that is described in the ancient texts as inexpressible and full of glory. The joy that is not performed and not contingent and not a product of everything going well. The joy that lives in the soul that knows it, is loved and chosen and covered, and that the God who noticed their act of generosity in an ordinary moment is the same God who is actively, personally, faithfully working all things together for their good. That joy is yours. It is being released into your life now, and it is going to be one of the most visible markers of the new season you're entering. People around you are going to notice it, are going to ask what changed, are going to be drawn to whatever it is you have that makes you able to carry your life with that quality of lightness and hope and genuine gladness. What you have is this: the knowledge that heaven noticed, that God was moved, that the ordinary moment was not ordinary at all, and that the God who saw what you did in that moment has been responding ever since. Part 2. Michael wants to take you deeper into what heaven actually saw when it looked at your act through the eyes of eternity, because there is a dimension to what you did that goes beyond the immediate moment of the act itself, a dimension that only becomes visible when the act is placed in the full context of your life story and the story of what God has been building in you through every season you have lived. Heaven did not see one act of kindness in one ordinary moment. Heaven saw the culmination of a lifetime of formation. That single moment was the visible expression of everything that was built in you through every hard season you survived, every loss that could have closed your heart but did not, every disappointment that could have made you cynical but did not, every betrayal that could have turned your generosity into self-protection but did not. Every season of giving without receiving that could have trained you into calculation but did not. Every experience that was specifically designed by the enemy to destroy the very quality that expressed itself in that moment. None of it worked. The heart that helped the angel was the heart that survived every assault on its generosity intact. That is what heaven saw. Not just the act, but the entire story behind the act, the full weight of what it cost to still be that person in that moment, the total investment of formation and testing and surviving and choosing and continuing that produced a human being capable of that quality of unself-conscious, uncalculated, genuinely loving response. That is what amazed heaven. Not the moment in isolation, the moment as the evidence of the person, the act as the proof of the character, the kindness extended to a stranger as the fruit of a tree that had been growing through fire and drought and storm and had come through bearing exactly the kind of fruit it was designed to bear. You are that tree, and the season of bearing fruit is fully upon you now. There are people in your life right now who are going to be the human expression of heaven's response to what you did. People who are going to show up for you in ways that feel specifically tailored to your specific needs, who are going to know things about your situation that you never told them, who are going to offer things at the exact moment when those things are most needed, who are going to love you in the specific ways that your specific kind of heart most needs to be loved. These people are being sent. Some of them are already in your life, but the relationship has not yet reached the depth it is going to reach. Some of them you have not yet met. Some of them are going to appear in the most unexpected places, and the connection is going to feel immediate and real and like meeting someone you already know from somewhere you cannot quite place. That feeling of recognition is spiritual. It is the resonance of souls that were made for each other's company, that were destined to do life together for a season or a lifetime, that carry compatible callings and complementary gifts and the specific quality of seeing each other that your heart has been hungry for. When these people arrive, receive them. Do not hold them at arm's length out of the self-protection that disappointing relationships have built into you. Do not make them pay for what the wrong people did. Do not test them with the same tests you used to protect yourself in relationships that were never going to be right. These are the right ones, and the right ones deserve to be received as what they are rather than approached with the caution appropriate to what the wrong ones were. Open your hands, open your heart, and let the love that heaven is sending actually land. Michael wants to speak to the area of your calling that is most directly connected to what you demonstrated when you helped the angel. Because the act was not random, it was a demonstration of the specific gift that your calling is built around, and heaven is releasing that gift into active, visible, fruitful operation in this next season. Your calling is built around your capacity to see and respond to people. The same quality of heart that caused you to stop and help in that ordinary-looking moment is the same quality that is at the center of everything you were made to do. Every aspect of your specific calling, whether it expresses through words or works or presence or art or teaching or simply the quality of being the kind of person that others feel genuinely met by, every aspect of it flows from that central gift. The gift of genuine human presence, of actual seeing, of real, unperformed, costs you something care. That gift is about to be deployed at a level you have not accessed before. The people you are going to reach in this next season of your life are people who are starving for exactly what you carry, who have been surrounded by the performance of care without the reality of it, who have been offered advice and solutions and formulas when what they needed was the experience of being genuinely seen and genuinely accompanied in their reality without judgment and without an agenda. You know how to offer that. You have always known. It is the most natural expression of who you are, and it is the most powerful thing you could possibly offer to the specific people heaven is going to bring across your path in this season. Get ready to be used in the most meaningful way you have ever been used, not in the dramatic, platform, performance sense, in the intimate, real, one soul at a time sense that produces transformation that lasts because it went all the way down to the root. Heaven wants to address the fear that has sometimes made you hold back from the full expression of your calling. The fear that what you have to offer is not enough, that you need more credentials, more platforms, more resources, more healing, more preparation before you can step into the full weight of what you were made for. The fear that the depth of your calling exceeds the degree of your readiness. That fear is understandable. It is also inaccurate. You are ready, not perfect. Ready. The preparation that was necessary has been completed. The healing that needed to happen to the degree required for this season has happened. The formation that was essential is done. The faith that needed to be stretched has been stretched. The character that needed to be built has been built. You are not waiting for readiness. You are standing in it right now without fully recognizing it, because readiness rarely feels dramatic from the inside. It rarely announces itself with a sense of complete confidence and zero fear. It usually shows up quietly, as a settled sense of okay, as a surprising ability to say yes to things that would have terrified the earlier version of yourself, as the willingness to take the step even though the step is still scary. If you are reading this and feeling the call to move towards something you have been hesitating toward, that is not coincidence. That is confirmation. The fear you feel about it is not a sign that you are unready. The fear and the call living together in the same moment is the definition of readiness. It means the thing is real enough to be genuinely challenging, and you are developed enough to choose it anyway. Choose it. The God who watched you help an angel without knowing you were helping an angel is the same God who is watching you now. And the quality of heart that moved you then is the same quality that is moving you toward the next step of your calling. Trust it. Trust yourself. Trust the God who has been building you for this. As Michael closes this message, there is one thing that needs to be said above all the other things. One truth that underlies everything else that was spoken here today. One reality that is the source and the foundation and the explanation for all of it. God loves you with a love that has no bottom, not the love that watches from a distance, the love that is in it with you, that is present in the ordinary moments and the extraordinary ones. That was present in that moment when you helped the angel without knowing it was an angel. That was moved by what it saw. That said, this is someone I want to pour into. This is someone whose story I want to be involved in at the deepest level. This is someone whose heart reflects something of mine, and I want them to know that I see it. God sees it. God sees you. Not the version you perform, the real one, the one who is generous without an audience, the one who sees people when it would be easier not to, the one who gives when giving costs something, the one who has been through fire and come out still soft, still open, still capable of the kind of love that stopped heaven in its tracks. That person is seen, is known, is loved, is being blessed with everything that a faithful, generous, heaven-noticed soul deserves to receive, is walking into a season of return and restoration and open doors and divine alignment and deep joy and genuine love and fruitful purpose that is going to be worth every single hard thing it cost to arrive here. You saved an angel without knowing it. Heaven noticed, and heaven is responding with everything it has for a soul like yours. Receive it fully. You have earned the right to receive it fully.